Okay guys, here we are again. So it turns out that the proper size for that is a 15/16. I think. Let me double check it here. Yeah, it's a little hard to see because she's rusty, but I don't know if you guys can see that or not. No, I don't think so, but that says right there 15/16. Anyway, take my word for it. This side's a little better, but because of where I've got the light, you're not going to see it. Unless I do, maybe. Not that it matters. I mean, I'm not lying to you. Obviously, it's a 15/16. It's hard to see, but that's what it is. And now to get this guy to come loose right there. Now, a little bit of muscle. Do I have enough? That's the problem. I don't know. Sometimes you need to put leverage on, like if the wrench you got is not big enough to do the job. You can't get enough leverage. You can always find something to give you extra leverage. Now, normally, if this were, well, I might be able to do it here. If I can get the, no, I don't think I can get the, yes, I can. I can get the boxed end on there. See, that's good. So what I've done, I managed to get the boxed end on there. So what that does, it leaves me an opportunity to show you a little trick. Now, this is hard on tools, and you can break them. But when you're a mechanic and you're buying tools that have a lifetime warranty, you can usually get away with this. And a lot of times it won't break. So what I'm going to do, now that I've got the boxed end on the nut, now what I need to do is I need leverage. So I'm going to take the boxed end of another wrench and put it right over there like that. See how I did that? So now I get kind of a death grip on that end of the open end of that wrench that I'm using. I've got so much more leverage, right? I've doubled the length, so that gives me more leverage for the same effect. What I might want to do though is move this just a little more this way. I just need enough room to break it loose, and once I got that, then it becomes easier, right? So let's break her loose. Okay, that did the trick. Much more leverage now. Now it's loose and I can use one hand. Now hopefully, yeah, we're good. I'm going to put WD-40 on this one because I want it to come off easy so that it doesn't start spinning that stud in there. If it starts spinning that stud, then I got to get in the whole racket of digging out a torch, throwing sparks all over the place, and risking a fire. And I don't want to do that. So give me 1 second. Okay, guys, I got something I want to show you here. In Canada here, we use WD-40. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this stuff is a miracle fluid because it's not like a lot of penetrating fluids where you put it on and you have to give it a period of time to work. You put this stuff on and it's instantaneous. It works immediately. So it sinks in really good. It is a very good penetrating fluid. It's not good for lubricating things in terms of long-term lubrication. In terms of getting something loose, it's great. Now there's also a product called PB Blast. Now I think that's an American product. I can't remember for sure. It does pretty much the same thing. Now I lived in the U.S. and I believe that I've tried PB Blast because when I was down there I don't remember buying WD-40, although maybe they did have it, but I think PB Blast was the alternative. And honestly, PB Blast worked pretty good, but it just didn't penetrate as fast as this WD-40. Now there's lots of other things you can use too, and there might be products out there, US products as well, that are just as good or better. But here in Canada, for me, this is the #1 product if you want to get something loose and you want it to come loose quick. Unless you're using a torch and heating something up, you're actually using a penetrating fluid of some sort, WD-40 is the way to go. I don't see any reason to use anything else. It's always worked. If it won't come loose with a little bit of WD-40, then it's got to be heated with a torch to its cherry red, and then you can break it loose, or it's got to be cut off. Now the problem here is I've lost my spray tip, so it's going to be hard to get my WD-40 down in there, but if there's a way, I'll find it. Maybe go this way. Let's see. Yeah, a little more access here. So again, the only reason I'm putting the WD-40 on here is because there's a stud going up through here, and this is the ball joint. This stud will turn. If it breaks loose in here before I get that nut all the way off, then all it's going to do when I turn that nut is turn the whole stud, and I'm going to have a hard time getting that nut off. A very hard time. So the WD-40 hopefully is going to make this loosen up better and not allow that that stud come loose. Now again, by putting the WD-40 on there, I might have screwed myself, because if it gets down in between that stud and allows that stud to turn, then I'm in trouble. I don't think it will, but it is possible. And so far, so good. Now this is a self-locking nut, but when I put the new ball joint in, I'm going to put the new nut on, which I believe is a castellated nut. And it did come with a cotter pin, so it's a castellated nut. This WD-40, this is getting really tight now. There's a lot of rust on there. A lot of rust. Now when you get heavy, crusty rust, the WD-40 won't take that off. That's still going to be a problem. And that's what we have, is the top end of this has been there so long that it's crusty rust. And that crusty rust has to pass through the thread on this lug nut. And that wasn't designed for that. So we could run into a problem here. Hopefully not. But we could. I'm crossing my fingers. Because if that happens, I'm going to be very upset. The ball joints usually, once that stud's in there and it's been there a while, it usually hangs on pretty good. I have had to cut them out with a torch before, but not usually. Hopefully this won't be one of those times, because that would be a real pain in my ass. Now before I take that nut all the way off, it's a good idea to put a little jack stand or something in here for support. Now this controller is supported by the sway bar link, which is a bit rusty. It could snap, probably won't. It's not in that bad a shape. We also have this, what else do we have holding that? Really, that's all we have holding it, is that stabilizer link right there. And if that were to break, but this big heavy coil spring and this nut gone, and this drops down, then I'm in trouble, because it's a bit dangerous. And secondly, if I run into a problem getting it back together again, because that spring is very difficult to compress. So I'm going to put a jack stand under it, and the jack stand is for safety. It won't, it's just, all it does is keeps this control arm from flying down and hitting the floor down there. That's the only thing it's for, safety. What will happen is that'll come down and hit the jack stand instead. Ideally, a way to stabilize the spring so that it doesn't try to open up. You know, something to clamp on that to keep that from opening up would be the best way to go, but I don't have enough wire to do that. A lot of times guys will use wire. I don't have spring compressor to do that. I had them and I took them back. I should have kept them. I'm not sure if they would have worked in this case. Is actually down in there, right here. That's not supposed to be like that. There's another coil that's down in there that's not attached, that's snapped off of that. So it has broken those seats. This means the suspension should be replaced. Those coil springs should be replaced. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a jack stand under there. I don't think I need it, but one never knows. So let's grab one.